Welcome back to Streamline Entertainment. It is Marvin speaking. We're going to get straight into a video, and this is by Liz. Jay Slater's dad, Warren, is back in masca. He's having none of it. He does not believe for a second Jay walked up the hill. He thinks it's all Rocky and the Airbnb lady knows more than they're letting on. I'll reply after the video. I'm just going to let this play through, people.
Back at the starting point. It was last starting spot to the view. As you can see, village houses or you come out. Stop is there. There is turned left. He has knocked on this door to the restaurant. Past the buses, and they say that he has walked up the hill. That was the 10 o'clock buzz. So, seriously? I think there's a lot of bullshit going on. Truthfully? Can anybody see a shortcut? Back to Los Cristianos.
That was Warren Slater, Jay's dad. Basically, I thought it was brilliant that he was actually documenting everything and taking pictures and photos, because when you go back home, and obviously the strain of the case, sometimes you can't think straight. And then as time passes by, you go back to look into it to wonder what people's, your own thoughts are on this case, whether you believe what people are actually saying. Your Abe's, your Lucy's, your Brad, your Brandons at the end of the day. And I'm sure Warren, right from the early days, said my son basically didn't walk through there unless he was forced to at the end of the day. And he knows if he had a problem, and Debbie have said it, that he would contact them straight away if he had a problem. This is why I don't think he had his phone at the time and basically sending out Snapchats that he'd stole a watch, and he's with, at first one Marley boy, then two Marley boys, in a later sort of message that came out at the end of the day. In this case, it's absolutely crazy, the sort of fabrication in this case is. And like I said, we know that Warren was talking to wax people, but maybe because the importance of the case, he was told not to say anything. Because obviously he knew that the inquest was big. So it's going to be interesting to see in my eyes, how far the family want to take this. I'm going to move on to part 2, which is just my view on the witnesses. Welcome back to part 2, people. This is from the Daily Mail. And it goes on to say, Jay's rug cocktail. The drug Jay Slater had in his system when he died are revealed at an inquest as court is told he wanted to sell a 10k watch hours before the death, while friends who were last to see him alive can't be found. Like I said, I don't believe that watch situation. I don't believe basically it was anything to do with Jay, because Jay, I think, was in a position to take anything, to be honest with you. but I do think there is organised crimes where young boys um, uh, go out as well as rug deal to actually nick things, opportunists as well. This is what I think as well. And someone said, were those red containers basically to get rid of stuff they had stolen? That is a massive, massive possibility. But I've heard that quite a few times over the Jay Slater case for months in private messages, that there are organised gangs that actually go out there to rob expensive items, wallets, watches if they can, and many other things as well. So I'm just going to read, I'm not going to read the whole article, people, but it says, as the proceedings began, Lancashire Senior Coroner Dr. James Adley, the coroner, said there that police had failed in attempt to contact Miss Law and several of Mr. Slater's other British friends. So that must have been Brandon and Brad. And it goes on to say, we can't find them. They have stopped responding to phone calls, and said while Mr. Slater's parents, Debbie Duncan, 55, and Father Warren, 58, listened in silence. Dr. Adley also told the Preston Coroner's Court, when rugs are involved in death, the witnesses are less than forthcoming and do not wish to speak to the authorities. Then, obviously, I know, obviously, Dr. Adley had said that point, to be honest with you, but obviously we've got a Mr. Long, apparently, who's going to be the coroner. So let's hope he's a little bit more forceful than what Dr. Adley was. And if it wasn't for Debbie and Warren, I don't think we'd be sitting really talking about the Jay Slater case as much as it is so important now. It goes on to say that the inquest also heard that his severe skull and pelvis fractures were consistent with a fall from a height, and that the traces of cocaine, ecstasy, and ketamine were in his body. A friend also said that Mr. Slater seemed to be off his head on rugs the night before. Mr. Slater from Oswald Twistle in Lancashire had attended the NLG Festival at Papagayo in Playa de las Americas, Tenerife on the 16th of June last year. But after becoming separated from his friends from the all-night rave, he went back to an Airbnb holiday cottage in the motive massacre of two Britons, convicted rug dealer Ayub, 31, and another man. And we don't really know who that was, and I don't think it was Rocky, to be honest with you. I think a lot of people have got their viewpoints who that man was. The apprentice bricklayer was last seen alive, leaving the whitewashed house at around 7:30 a.m. on June the 17th. As we saw in the first video, Warren doing some of the walk that the witnesses say Jay had said, like Ophelia. And the first thing I noticed at the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of cars around and a lot of people about. And why, I keep saying it, but why didn't an independent witness come forward and say, look, they saw Jay Slater? It didn't make any sense to me that nobody else saw him. And if he was on the path, basically, the sort of the track road where a lot of sightseers would have taken, or people tracking who love mountains, they would have saw him. That never made any sense to me. And to actually, they're out there that they believe he went into the wilderness, his friends, it's laughable. It really, really is. And like I said, I do think the news had bought it, that, his friends were telling the truth. But obviously, the little things like that comes out. What Dr. Adley said is that when rugs are involved, people are not forthcoming in coming forward. And Jay Slater's so-called friend, Lucy Law, in June last year, saying he was lost. And like I said, she really did hammer that home, didn't she? And obviously there is Debbie with family, son in the back there, including Mother Debbie Duncan, right, left, Preston Coroner's Court, Lancashire, for the inquest into the death of the 19-year-old. Obviously, that was the first inquest. And like I said, there is some of a picture, and there's a gallery on this as well, the Airbnb house massacre that Jay Slater was staying before his disappearance. But what it really should say at the end of the day is that it's believed that he'd stayed there, believed that he'd stayed there, but with no proof. That's what we've got. And it's laughable again. He was apparently trying to walk the 10-hour journey back to the apartment where he was staying after a bus back. An immediate focus to the investigation was a post Mr. Slater uploaded on Snapchat of him having a cigarette with the location tagged at the door of the apartment at 7:30 am UK time. Then 2 phone calls emerged. Miss Law, who later attended Mr. Slater's funeral in August, received a call at 8:30 am where it said he was lost and 1% charged on his phone and needed water. In a video call to their other friend, Brad Hargreaves, Mr. Slater was walking on rough stony ground, saying he was making the long walk back. His mother and father joined the family and friends to comb the island for sightings. As the mystery surrounding the teen's disappearance grew vile and distressing conspiracy theories began to emerge that dodged efforts to find Mr. Slater. I disagree there, because like I said, we do know, believe that the friends were lying into what happened to Jay Slater. And if it is proven over here, and that court document is saying that Lucy was at the Airbnb, she's technically lied to the whole world, the media, and to the public and to the family as well, which is absolutely disgusting. So this is one of the reasons why we keep chasing the case. Among the rumours circulated, including claims Mr. Slater had been targeted by a criminal cartel on the island for allegedly stealing a watch from a gang member, something his family vehemently denied happened. Tragically, Mr. Slater was body found a month later in mountainous area of the island, because obviously that conspiracy started off with the, obviously the false Snapchat of that he stole watch. So that technically puts him in the limelight that there could have been a bit of trouble. But this guy never actually came forward to say a watch was stolen. That was never proven. Just going to move on, people. The post-mortem found that he died of traumatic head injuries consistent with a fall from height. His death would have been instantaneous. But obviously, we want a lot more answers of the post-mortem and other injuries to his body, like neck and obviously cranial area, which was Ali was on about the other day, and much more. I think it's really important. A forensic pathologist who examined Mr. Slater's body after his repatriation to the UK said today in inquest that injuries included severe skull and pelvis fractures were consistent from a fall from height. And we've heard that. Dr. Richard Shepherd said the injuries seen in assault victims were very different from the type of injuries he saw from Jay. That's fair enough. Toxicologist Dr. Stephanie Martin said the length of time before Mr. Slater's body was discovered meant it was impossible to carry out tests on blood or urine, but examinations of the liver sample found metabolites of MDMA and other recreational drugs in his system, as well as cocaine. Spanish scientists additionally tested hair and muscle samples, finding a metabolite of ketamine, she added. However, due to the length of time between Mr. Slater's death and the samples being taken, she wasn't able to say if he had been under the influence of drugs when he fell to his death, she said. Obviously, a lot of this we've heard before, but like I said, I hate that theory of the watch being bought up. I really, really do. And like I said, I'd hope that even if it is deemed at the accident by the coroner's court, whether it's this time or the next time it goes to court, I hope that the family, there's Jay's brother Zach there, he must have had a real sort of burden on him leaving his younger brother. But at least he's looking after his mum and dad as well, which is good. And there's Jay, cheeky smile. But like I said, Debbie Duncan, at the end of that, I really do hope she gets justice for Jay. It's very, very important. There's obviously pictures of the funeral which was the 10th of August last year. R.I.P. Jay. And like I said, so many unanswered questions in this case. But obviously, one of the reasons why I read this article is that I'm reluctant, really reluctant to actually see Lucy, Brandon there. I do think we may get up on a video call, maybe, someone within, basically telling him what to say or making sure he doesn't actually mess up. That's a possibility. People do think that basically Brad may be there, but I just can't see what if Lucy said. I just can't see her being there. I'd be shocked if she was actually there, and I would be shocked if Brandon was there as well. Let me know what you think, people. I do think, I've got a funny feeling whatever happens, I think the family are going to want more answers, even if the inquest is closed. I'm not too sure that they're going to want these documentaries to come out yet to deem that it was an accident at the end of the day, because this obviously would be disastrous if those documentaries come out and the family are not happy with what the coroner's court verdict has said. Let's just hope this goes further. Let me know what you think, people. Near the date, obviously, I do think that we're going to hear from Ayub in some form. I don't know what form. I don't think he'll be there, but I do think he could be on a video link. There is a possibility Brad will be there. I don't think Brandon and Lucy will be there. It's going to be really, really, really interesting. But all we want is justice for Jay. And we've really got this far. We've just got to be behind the family. And what their final say is, we have to respect that. And like I said, if they want to basically deem this an accident and they're happy with the coroner's report, this case, if it has to be left at that, as simple as that. But if the family want to go on further and they're not happy with it, then we'll fight on with them. It's as simple as that. Let me know what you think, people. Don't forget to subscribe to Streamline Entertainment and follow the channel. Appreciate you all. Justice for Jay.